time. Lovely. Hey guys, well, welcome to the traffic light system, which is a free masterclass. It's so great to see you all here. Like I've just said, there's some new faces, which is really, really amazing to see. Some people who are quite familiar to the program already. But if anything, I want you to get from this free training a tool that you've got in your pocket that you can use to prioritize yourself around your busy teaching career, work on yourself around your busy teaching career, and I guess recognize that and setting those boundaries is so important too. We're going to be looking specifically at the traffic light system today. This is one of the tools that I use with the girls inside the coaching. So some of the girls will be really familiar with this. If they've been with me for a while, then it's something that we've used week in, week out. If you're new to the program, then this training will be really, really helpful. So yeah, hopefully this is something you can really take from and make sure that you utilize and can kind of apply the bits that we're getting from it. So the traffic light system and what we're going to be talking about today. So during this call, what I want to cover is what the traffic light system is and how to apply this around your busy teaching career. So we're going to go over that in a bit more detail. I'm going to explain exactly what this tool is and how and what it will look like for you. Within the tool, we're going to be looking at labeling our weeks. So red week, amber week, green week. I'm going to go over sort of the different criteria that we have to meet those different weeks, what that might look like for you, how these weeks might look on your side, what to expect kind of to do in those different weeks. And then I think most importantly is how to apply your fitness routine around those different weeks that you've got. So during a red week, what does your fitness routine look like? During an amber week, what does your fitness routine look like? And during a green week, what are the differences between the three? And then from this, I think this is the best way that you can make teaching feel more sustainable. And I hope this makes you realize and appreciate that if you are building fitness into your routine and you want to see a change, you need to change your mindset of it being like you're on a diet or you're on a plan, and you need to recognize that it has to be a lifestyle shift and you have to see the long-term results, because teaching is an incredibly intense job and it is impossible for fitness to always be your number one priority when you are teaching. And that is what this training is all about. It's about understanding that actually there are going to be weeks where teaching is intense, and unfortunately there are weeks where it does take over a little bit, and it's the nature of the job, but there are weeks we can pull back and take that time back. And it's about me being realistic. I was a teacher before. I'm going to introduce myself properly in a moment, but it is about us being realistic and recognizing that we know that it's an intense job, but there are ways we can manage it. And that's what I really want you to get from this call. It's got to feel realistic for you, otherwise it's never going to be something that lasts. And I want you to be able to really understand how to apply these things in the long run as you're going through as well. So first of all, I'm Chrissy. A little bit about me. I used to teach in primary schools. I was always in upper key stage two. I did year five and year six. Once I got into year six, got a little bit stuck in year six. But yeah, I left teaching in August 2024 and set up the Teacher Fitness Academy. It just felt like a really nice route to go down to, because I knew the struggles that I faced personally, but also other teachers that I was around was facing. And it's been really nice to work with people and really understand where people are coming from and the struggles that they're having, because I do believe it's really hard to appreciate or recognize just how hard and tiring it is in the classroom unless you've done it before. And I think that's really important to know. It can be challenging, it can be tricky. So that's kind of where I've come from on my journey, and this is where the Teacher Fitness Academy sort of developed. I really felt like there was a need for people to be understood and heard. I felt like there wasn't fitness plans that suited us as teachers, because everything felt very extreme and dramatic, and it's not possible, like I've just said, to give your all 100% of the time to people to give you all 100% of the time to your fit health and fitness, because sometimes teaching does take over and it's just the nature of the job. So that's sort of where the Teacher Fitness Academy came from. And basically what I wanted the Teacher Fitness Academy to be is not just a way for you to reach your goals, whether that's fat loss, strength gain, toning, but also a way that you can learn how to apply fitness, like I said, as a lifestyle shift and in the long term. So I want all my clients to be able to come away from the coaching with a bunch of toolkits that they can use and apply week in, week out, strategies that they can use week in, week out, so that they feel confident and comfortable to go it alone eventually. So I guess today you're getting a little bit of an insight into the Teacher Fitness Academy and what it looks like. So we're going to be looking at the traffic light system, which is a part of the Teacher Fitness Academy. It's a huge part of the program that we use. The girls use it each and every week. And like I said, it's giving you a bit of an insight into sort of one of the toolkits that we use within our communities, one-to-one with clients as well, or just with you guys as sort of form little groups, which is lovely. um just sort of in your teams, and it's really nice because we recognize that people are talking about it. And just before we dive in, just want to showcase some amazing results from some of the ladies that have been through the program already. This is Shannon. As you can see, she's done an absolutely fantastic job. She's about 6 kg down between these two photos, and toned, and she's feeling so much more defined and stronger as well. Rosalind's the same. She had a very similar journey to Shannon. We put her on a reverse diet actually, which is something that's a little bit different. Some of you guys might have heard of me talk about this before if you're in the program, or we've had that conversation. But she actually had to eat a little bit more to see her results. But you can see the changes are huge in her body, and that's because we really prioritise the strength training as well around her busy career. Got Chloe as well. Chloe was a busy mum of three young children, and balancing it all was a bit chaotic, but managed to see some amazing changes. She's over 15 kg down here, which is so fantastic. And then Dominica, again, some fantastic changes. There's about 16 weeks between these two photos. Again, Dominica was one where we actually had to up her calories, but maybe that's another story for a different day when we look at nutrition in a bit more detail. But I just want to show you that it's possible. Putting these things in place is possible, and it's absolutely possible to see fantastic results, even as a teacher. And don't let anyone tell you otherwise, because it absolutely is. And actually, it's essential that you're working on yourself outside of your career, otherwise, you just get lost in it. So let's get into the actual training. So you guys aren't sat here because I imagine you're exhausted, and I want you to actually get something useful from this, something to take away from it. So what is the traffic light system? What is the traffic light system? How can you use it? What does it look like as a tool, I guess, in the classroom? So the traffic light system sort of came from the ethos that I recognised and understood with myself being in the classroom, but also with clients as well, that each week in teaching looks incredibly different, right? So there's not one week in teaching that looks the same. I feel like from the week that you start back at half term looks very different to week number 3 compared to week number 6. But also, not just only does each half term look very different, each week in the half term look very different, each half term itself looks very different. It's very different, and you have to put very different energy levels in autumn 1 compared to summer 2, right? And what I recognized was that it was really hard to be like, right, this is my fitness routine, I need to be consistent. I just felt when I was in that, it was really hard for me to be consistent. It was really hard for me to show up consistently to this fitness routine that I wanted to hit, because my job was not consistent. And I constantly felt like I was fighting fire with fire. I wasn't doing the right thing. And then because I wasn't being consistent, it made me feel like I was failing, which just didn't help at all. And what I recognized and realized was that actually it just felt the reason that I wasn't being consistent was because the teaching job itself is never consistent. There's not one week which is the same. So when I started working with the ladies inside the academy, we kind of started to speak about this rule. This was a while back, but then it came into the traffic light system. And the traffic light system is a way to make the inconsistency of teaching a little bit more consistent with your fitness journey. And basically from that, without being able to find that consistent routine, it's allowing you to work sort of with the teaching rather than against it. I think it is so easy to put a plan in place and be like, I want to do X, Y, and Z. But if it doesn't work with the job, it's incredibly hard to stick to it in the long term. If anything, I want you to get from this coaching is that you can absolutely build a plan that can work over the whole year in teaching, go through all the seasons in it, assessment, report writing, Christmas. You can absolutely do that. You just need to learn to work with the career rather than against it. And you need to accept the ebbs and flows of the career. Not one week will look the same. And therefore, your fitness journey needs to reflect that. And you need to have a bit of a structure around that and understanding around it. There is no point in setting yourself up for failure. So that's where the traffic light system sort of came from. So what is the traffic light system? And this is the best way that I could break it down to sort of make it nice and clear in terms of what those weeks look like. So when we think about the traffic light system as a tool, what I need you to start thinking about on a Sunday night or even midweek, if the week goes a bit wild halfway through, as it often does, have a little think about what this week actually looks like. What does the week ahead look like if you can? Is it going to be a red week? Have you got parents' consultations? Have you got safeguarding meetings? Have you got reports that are due? Have you got assessments that's due? Is it going to be one of those weeks where the workload you are anticipating feels completely out of control? That's what makes it a red week, okay? The teaching weeks that are red weeks are those weeks that are incredibly intense, which do come and they happen probably more often than we'd like a lot of the time in teaching, but they happen. And those red weeks are the weeks that just feel quite unmanageable, right? So they're them weeks. The amber weeks are the weeks that I guess for your normal teaching weeks, it feels a little bit more manageable. You're still busy because we're always busy. You're still, running from pillar to post a little bit, but it does feel a bit more manageable. Okay, you've got a little bit of leeway with it. And then your green weeks are the lighter weeks. So these are definitely your holiday weeks, so the weeks that you're away from school. But it's also there are a few lighter weeks, I think, throughout the year. When you're building up to sort of the end of that at each half term or Christmas or then I feel like there are lighter weeks that are hidden in there, even though we are recovering in those weeks a little bit. But they are your green weeks. So first job is to sort of start to think, right, okay, and start to understand what your different weeks look like. What is a red week for you? What is an amber week for you? What is a green week for you? What are the differences between the three of them? And then thinking, okay, so I know that this is this week, so what's next? So that's what we're going to really look at today. So, how do we actually identify what those weeks look like and where do they sit? Because I think a lot of the guilt often comes from, well, I don't think I'm doing a good enough job because I'm getting pulled this way, that way, and this way. So, I wanted to give you some really like a bit of a clear criteria for what those weeks look like for you. The red weeks are the weeks where you feel like that do you know when you get like that anxious feeling a little bit when because you've got so much to do in your to-do list and it has to be done right, it's the stuff that's urgent, you need to have your reports in this week or you've got those meetings that have to happen after school. It's those weeks where you feel like you cannot do it anymore. They are your red weeks. Okay, they're your red weeks, and you've got to imagine this as a bit of a continuum as well, right? It's not as explicit as green, amber, red. You might be sitting somewhere in between amber and red, but it's thinking about those weeks that just feel completely unmanageable, the weeks where you just want to get home and lay on the sofa. Okay, they are those weeks where you've got absolutely no time after school, you've got everything you need to throw into your work at school and you've just not got that time for you. Yeah, they are your red weeks. Now your amber weeks are the weeks in between where you feel like you've got a bit of extra time, so maybe you've got a bit of planning to do for the week ahead, maybe you've got your normal school marking to do but there's not any assessments, maybe you've got like a little bit of admin to do, a bit of classroom prep to do, but it's nothing too crazy. They're your amber weeks, so your more normal weeks. And then finally, like I said before, the green weeks are your lighter weeks, like your holidays when it feels a little bit easier. So once you start to establish what they look like for you, and the more you do this, the more you will get confident with being able to do this. Once you start to establish what those weeks look like for you, you can start to plan accordingly to it for it. What I would definitely recommend is sitting on a Sunday night and just trying to preempt the week ahead a little bit. Is it going to be a green week? Is it going to be an amber week? Is it going to be a red week? And then you can start to plan your fitness around it. Now, the beauty of this and what we actually want to get from it is we need to understand that we cannot control absolutely everything, right? And we need to understand that those plans need to reflect how busy we are in the week. Otherwise, we're just setting ourselves up for failure and it doesn't become easy. And like I said before, this is a little bit of a continuum and it's definitely about trial and error and finding that balance. And what you might find is what you thought was going to be a green week ends up being an amber or a red week, and what you find was going to be a red week ends up feeling a little bit lighter. That's where that flexibility needs to come in. But I do think it's good to start to understand where these weeks sit and being okay if things start to change throughout them as well, and reflecting on that, jumping back to where, okay, this is turning into a green week, this is my plan for a green week, okay, this is turning more into a red week, this is my plan for a red week, and starting to think on your feet a little bit. But as you go through, the only way you're going to do that is experience, and you just need to keep applying it week in, week out. Just have it at the back of your mind, is this an amber, red or green week, and start to think what your different strategies are. So I guess this comes to the actual, what does that look like then? So for each of these weeks, this is where I want you to really think about, what does your fitness, your health and fitness look like on each of these weeks? This is an example, and this might not be right for you because it depends on what you're building and where you want to go with your goals, but I had to give you a bit of an example of one. So for example, your green week is always going to be your 100% week. So the week where you're 100% on plan. So this might be 3 to 4 workouts, depending on how many you have on your plan. So for example, my workout plan at the minute, I've got 4 workouts. So my green week would be getting all 4 workouts in with as much energy as possible. My food is going to be on plan. I'm sticking to my food throughout the day. I'm meal prepping all my food. I'm hitting my protein goals. I'm making sure that I'm not sort of going and getting a McDonald's on the way back because I've got my food prep from the night before. And my food is always on plan on a green week. My step goal is at 10,000. I'm hitting that every single day. Maybe I'm getting some extras in on a green week as well. Maybe I'm making sure that I'm getting enough sleep or I'm getting enough water in. Maybe I'm making sure that I'm getting some downtime in the evening too. Green weeks are those weeks where you've got time to give your 100% to you and really refill your cup a little bit. So that would be what a green week would look like. Now, this is me giving you an example, by the way. Your perfect week might not be a 4-session week, and that's absolutely fine. 3 sessions is absolutely more than enough to see amazing results. I don't want anyone coming away from this thinking you need to do 4 or 5 sessions, but you do not. 3 sessions is amazing. 2 sessions is fantastic too, if that's what you're on. But 3 sessions, I'd say, if you're really trying to build a routine that's sustainable, 3 feels really manageable to me. And it's actually the amount that I do recommend with a lot of clients. So 3 sessions per week is a really good one there. Like I said, food on plan, hitting your step goal, definitely. Now, an amber week is when we know that things start to creep in a little bit, work pressures creep up a little bit. So this is where we're going to look at what actually changes. What do we look at decreasing during those amber weeks? So what are the things that we actually pull away from a little bit? So number one is you want to keep your food on plan. That's so important. If you can, you want to keep your food where it is. Reason being is because keeping your food on plan will actually save you time in the long run anyway. It's all prepped and ready to go. So you're going to use less energy making food at the end of the day because it's all prepped. But also, if you can keep your nutrition on point, guys, that's where you're going to see the results. I can promise you that now. The other bits really do add to it in the long term. But if you've got a week from hell and you can't manage anything else, then keeping your food on plan will really allow you to continue to see those changes, even during the more stressful weeks. Steps a little bit lower. So instead of my 10,000 step goal, I might be like, right, this week's looking a little bit busy. I'm going to aim for 8,000 a day instead. Maybe I'm going to move towards my goals a little bit slower, but it still means I'm moving towards my goals. My gym sessions, instead of doing 4, I'm going to do 2, or instead of doing 3, I'm going to do 2, but I'm still going to try and get some movement in. Maybe one of those is going to be at the weekend, one of them is going to be in the week. I'm just going to cut it down a little bit, but I'm not setting myself up for failure. I'm looking ahead on a Sunday night. Monday, I've got a meeting. Tuesday, I've got a meeting. Wednesday, I'm free, so I'm going to do it on Wednesday. Thursday, I've got a meeting. Friday, I know I want to go home and relax. It's a long week. Saturday, I'm going to do another one. Look at your week ahead and be realistic, guys. You do not want to set yourself up for failure, and that's really important to recognize and appreciate. And finally, we've got a red week. So, like I said, these are your chaotic weeks. I would honestly say no workouts on a red week. If your week is that intense, you do not want to be squeezing workouts in on an evening. Maybe do one workout just to feel good at the weekend, but do not feel the pressure of putting workouts in there. 1 week off workouts will not jeopardize your goals in the long run. I can promise you that. What matters is if you're jumping back in the next week. Steps reduced. I would say aim for half your step count. If you can do a little bit more, that's fantastic, but steps definitely reduced. Just do what you do in the classroom. Don't stress about a number. Keep an eye on what that number is, but you're not going to be worrying about going out for extra walks at the end of the day. Try and keep sleep there as much as you can, because if sleep's there, it's one of our basic hierarchies. It's one of our basic needs that we need. So, and it just helps keep everything ticking along. The one that I would say always keep on plan as much as possible, as close to as possible, is the food. And I get it. After a really stressful week, sometimes we want to come home and just order that takeaway or have a glass of wine or eat the chocolate on the sofa. I completely get it. But I promise you, if you understand how to make food that you enjoy, that helps you work towards your fitness goals, if you allow yourself to have that chocolate every single day, you won't feel the need to binge on it during these weeks. And it's just keeping your food on plan as much as you can. And that will mean even during a week like this or a week where you can't do anything else, you can still work towards those goals and get towards those goals. So that is a bit of a summary of the traffic light system, our green weeks, amber weeks, and our red weeks. And like I said earlier, a little bit of an insight into the Teach Fitness Academy, what it all looks like, and one of the tools that we use. So yeah, I guess I hope that was helpful for you guys. And I suppose a big part of this is really the next part, we've sat and kind of watched the training, but it's really understanding next how to apply this and put it into place for yourself. So please just go away and try putting this method in place. Try having a go at this just really helps you with the practice, with the longevity of it, and really building it in the long run as well. And I am actually doing a little bit of a taster around the traffic light system for you guys that are on this call. It is a free extra one-to-one call with myself. Whether you're in the program or not, you're more than welcome to book onto this. This is where we will look at your traffic light system and break it down so you know exactly what each of those steps look like for you as an individual, because obviously this is very generalized. So this is where we would break them down for you as an individual. If you would like to book onto that, I am going to just send the link into the chat now. So you should be able to, if you click that link in the chat, it will bring up a page. It says thank you for your purchase, but there's no purchase there. It's all free. And you can book a call with me. It's just a quick 15-20 minute call. We'll have a chat. We'll look at your goals specifically and go over what this would look like for you as an individual. I know that some of you on this call have already booked, which is amazing. So I'm gonna reach out with you guys tomorrow just to confirm, and over the next couple of days, whenever you're booked in for. But it is really good. You want to be able to apply it properly. And this is a free course, so just do it, utilize it, get what you can out of it, put it in place, and yeah, see what you can get from the traffic light system basically, because it's an amazing tool. Like I said, have your plan there. A little bit like the coaching that we use. Make sure you know what meals you're having. Make sure you know what your workouts look like. Have that whole structure there so that you can work towards it and get to where you want to be, basically. But that's all for today's call, and that's what I wanted to talk about. Yeah, I do really hope that was helpful, and I hope it was useful for you guys as well. I would really appreciate your feedback either over on Instagram or WhatsApp. Whether you're a client or not, it'd be fantastic to hear from you. And yeah, I appreciate you all showing up, and I will catch you guys all on the next one.